Hello and welcome back to my shop. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to take a look at this Triton router. If you've been watching any of my videos, you've probably seen this router before. I bought it about 6 months ago for a very specific purpose. I have a router sled that I built for flattening slabs, and I was looking to upgrade the router. I wanted a router that has a little more power so I could handle running a 3-inch spoilboard bit. I wanted a router that could plunge deeper, giving me the ability to remove more material, remove all the material that I need without having to reset the jig. And also I wanted a variable speed motor so that I could help control the quality of the cuts. And if you know me at all, you know that whenever it makes sense, I prefer not to spend a ton of money on my tools. Well, this Triton router, it really fits the bill. It has all the power I need, it had all the features I needed, and then some, at a price that really made sense. I use this for flattening slabs, I've used this for cutting the recesses for table legs with this fixture that I made. And also there was that one time when my mold release failed and I had to grind the form off the entire bottom side of a slab. This router had all the power I needed to get that done. So now let's get into taking a look at the features of this router. Before I go any further, I do want to add that I am not sponsored in any way. I purchased this router with my own money. I have no obligations to Triton or any other company for that matter. This is just me and my opinion. I will leave a link in the description that takes you to that router on Amazon. If you were to click on that link and purchase the router, you're going to get the same price you would otherwise, but I'll make a small commission from that, which will allow me to continue to make these videos. And as long as you're down there pushing buttons, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get back into the video. So let's take a quick look at what's in the box and some quick specs. Of course, you get the router. This is a 3¼ horsepower motor that is variable speed from 8,000 to 21,000 RPMs. And yes, it is a soft start motor. You get both 1/2-inch and 1/4-inch collets, and of course the wrench for changing your bit. It comes with this fancy guide, which can be used for both straight cuts and for making circles, and I'll show you that in just a bit. And then it comes with this crank. We're going to talk about this crank in a little bit, but this might be one of my favorite features. This is the one that's going to save you money. So now let's get down closer and I'll show you just how this router works. So to start with, it does have dust control. There's a port here for a vacuum and some clear guards. Unfortunately, when using my 3-inch spoilboard bit, I had to remove this inner collar and port, which meant I had no vacuum attached here, which is why my guards are all scratched up, all those chips flying around in there without getting extracted. This is a plunge router, which can be done in multiple ways. So there's a button on the side here. You can press that. It allows you to move it up and down, and wherever you let go of the button, that's where it stays. Alternatively, you can press harder. Hear that click? Now it'll move up and down and not lock until you say use the lock to lock it. Press it again to unlock it, and now again it'll lock wherever you leave it. You can add an orange handle in here that you can squeeze and turn, and this allows you to move it incrementally. And you can still go right back to moving it with the button. This micro adjuster on top also gives you small, minute adjustments. And like I said, there is a lock mechanism here to lock it at whatever height you set it. There is a depth stop, which is slightly different than ones I'm used to, but it works. It's got a spring-loaded rod that moves up and down. So let's say you set your depth. You just lock this in place. And now that spring-loaded rod is going to move with the machine. And then, of course, you have these little adjusters here to move up and down to adjust your stop. And you can turn it so you have 3 different depth stops you can use. So now I'll bring you down closer so we can look at how to install and change bits. As I said, this comes with a 1/4-inch and a 1/2-inch collet and only requires 1 wrench to change out a bit. They accomplish that with this plunger inside here that stops the shaft from turning and is automatically engaged down here when you fully depress the router. So if we just take it off the bench a little bit, and fully plunge it down. See that this shaft will not turn, so you can just install your collet and away you go. One important safety feature is, like I said, this won't turn, so we don't want to be able to turn the router on. There is a little trap door, and when this is fully depressed, you cannot open this trap door to turn on your router. So let's take a look now at how to use this guide plate. There are bolts that are spring-loaded on each side of the router. You can tighten those up when you're not using them, but loosen them up. And you loosen them up just enough that they clear the base plate. And this plate has little keyholes, so you just line those up. And tighten it down. Now you can set your fence to whatever depth you want. So maybe you're making a dado for some T-track. This will give you a guide to make nice straight cuts. Maybe straight cuts aren't your thing. Maybe you want to make circles. So you pull that off. There's this little plastic plate here that's got a couple little pinholes, and you could drill those holes to whatever size you need. Let's say you have a pin in the center of wherever you're going to make your circle. You line that up. You can adjust this to make the width whatever you need it to be to make the circle the size you needed, and then that'll be your pivot point for the rotor to make a circle. All right, last but certainly not least, this little crank. I told you this would save you money, and here's how it works. If you're like me, you like to have your router mounted in a table, and you've probably considered buying one of those router lifts because you can adjust the height from above and it's just slick and easy. But those can be pretty spendy. With this, you don't need it. Just mount the router to the underside of your table, drill a small hole. This shaft is going to slip down in here, and now you can adjust your height just like a router lift. No need to buy one. Hopefully this video was useful for you. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, I ask that you please like and subscribe. And really, like I always say, even if you didn't, please like and subscribe. Stay tuned for the next one.